Hello, welcome to Crux Investor. We caught up this morning with Steve Swatton, who is the CEO of KTO Gold, part of the Discovery Group of companies. Some great results out this morning. If you want our opinion on the conversation, their plans for next year, and the company itself, you can get that at cruxinvestor.com/club, where you can also find detailed company reports, commentary from experts from around the world on a variety of companies and commodities. There are training videos. There are summaries of other interviews that we've done just to save you a bit of time. And of course, there is a thriving community of investors sharing their thoughts and ideas with each other in a safe environment. So go along now and join them at cruxinvestor.com/club. And of course, we'd love your thoughts and feedback too. So do give us a like, leave your comments below. And if you want to see what we talked about, take a look in the description below. Steve, how are you doing, sir?
Good, thanks, Matt. Yep, great.
Good to speak to you. We spoke back in June, heard your story then. It was just kicking off. And then today, we saw a rather nice press release. You must be pleased.
Yeah, very pleased. I mean, we weren't expecting numbers quite this good. I mean, we were looking for something in the lines of what BHP had drilled in the past and maybe Newmont. But yeah, we are 3 to 4 times better than the results that we had then. So yeah, no, we're very pleased. It's only the third hole. We've done 3 holes out of 17. So it's early days. But yeah, I'm very, very happy with the results. When you got 87 meters of 4 grams, you can't sneeze at that in
not too many people would
high level epithermal environment.
Well, yeah. Just on that, so just, I mean, we'll put the link to the press release below if people haven't seen it, but you weren't expecting that, were you?
No, we were expecting something a little less. We were expecting about 2 gram level. To be honest with you, when we were drilling it though, we could see that the drillers were having some issues with the bedrock conditions. It was very hard, which meant it's silicified, which is something we're looking for. There was a lot of fracturing going on. In fact, there was even some voids in the ground, which was causing them problems. So we knew that it was an area which had undergone some activity. But yeah, we didn't see any BG in the rock, but it certainly had all the alteration products that we were looking for. So we were quietly optimistic that there was something going to be here. But look, we got quite a few more holes with the same type of material. So, we'll be anxiously waiting for those.
I bet you are. Because, you've had a number of companies in there drilling, testing, the Great Bears, the BHPs, Newmonts, as you say. They haven't had this level of success. Have you just got lucky, or is this unusual? Because 87 meters at 4 grams is quite exceptional.
Well, I'll be frank with you. BHP put a trench in, and it was 40 meters of 4 grams. So we kind of were lucky enough that when we inherited this drill program, we could drill underneath that area. And this is what you're seeing here. So what we think is a plunging chute of high-grade mineralization between 2 faults. And we're going to get a lot of this. This tends to what happened when you got the faults. You have these on echelon sort of zones, which are higher grade. And yes, we think the average grade, I'm not sure if it's going to continue with these sort of high levels, but I'm very encouraged because we have some Carlin type affinities as well. So it's high level epithermal gold, which is good in itself. But some of the trace element material that we have in there, the minerals that go with it, seems to suggest we have Carlin style. And there's a subtype which is a Chinese subtype Carlin, and it's one of the highest grade gold deposits that you can find. So look, it's early days, but that's the model we're going for at the moment.
Right. So you've got another 14 of these to come out. So when you say another 14, to drill or are in the lab?
No, they're in the labs right now. And
right.
We managed to get our sample to the front of the line. So we're expecting a sort of continual run of them over the next few weeks. So yeah, and we also did an exploration program where we were there on the western side of where we're drilling. We noticed there was a lot of alteration come up on World View 3, which is satellite-borne imagery, and it's a large area. It's about 3 kilometers by 1 kilometer, and we sent a bunch of prospectors in there, and they actually found old 1912 claims in there, with the bits of paper and everything. They took a bunch, so we got 420 odd samples from this area, which we're going to be also putting out the results from over the next few weeks. So I think we'll have continual news flow from now until through January.
Okay. Now that's the area that you're in. There's a few other big names in there, but Mojave Project is in California. I mean, how are the locals finding your presence?
The local town are I would say, are supportive. The business owners are definitely behind us. It's very much a state which was their heyday was when the farming and the mining were very active in the 60s and 70s. And then as a result of the Death Valley National Park, which carved out a bunch of the ground, and LA basically took their water, they siphoned it off and sent it to LA. They've been left with a sort of a tourist-based industry, which is pretty low-paid jobs. And so this would be seen as a nice alternative to the current situation where they're almost entirely reliant on the tourism. And it's passing through tourism. It's not a whole lot of people actually staying there and spending time in the mountains around there. They're on their way to somewhere else. So it's fast food restaurants, it's pumping gas. So yeah, and we've made some good inroads with the local business leaders. There's only 1,800 people live there, and I would say I've probably spoken to every one of them now. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Talk to me, because people think about California as a very difficult state to operate in.
Yeah.
So how many operators are actually there and working?
Well, there's about 4 or 5. Equinox would be the main one that most people have heard of, and they just started pouring gold. I think it was last month. And look, California obviously was the origin of the gold rush. The gold is still there. And you're absolutely right. I mean, it's not the easiest jurisdiction to be in, but the rules are pretty straightforward. If you adhere to the rules from the BLM, and we're on BLM land, you will get what you want done, because the law is the law. It's a bit unlike other places in the world where they seem to change it halfway along to suit themselves. It is what it is. And unless the law is actually changed by the United States, we will have the right to continue exploration and go through. The only impediment would be there's always the odd detractor coming in and sort of making your life difficult. But no, we have a schedule. We've now going to submit for a phase 2 program, which will be 30 sites. At the moment, we drill from 4 sites. We're going to put in for 30 sites. And we're submitting that document next week. The BLM have 30 days to turn it around, and then there'll be public comment. And so we're hoping to be drilling mid next year with a much larger program.
Okay. And you got slightly less than $2 million in the bank. So how are you going to do it?
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't need to be a rocket scientist to work that one out, right? We'll be looking to raise some more money than that. I think with results like this, I don't think we'll have a shortage of people offering us money. We'll just have to see with this current sort of falling gold market that we got where the price ends up. And we're pretty optimistic that we will be able to follow through on the second phase with a sizable program that makes sense. There's not too many assets like this sitting undeveloped. If this was in Nevada, they'll be already mined out, or it would already be at least explored to hell. But what we're dealing with here is probably one of the best discoveries in the Southwest US in the last 10 years, I would argue.
So even if, just want to understand the sort of degree of confidence you have. So let's say 87 meters at 4 grams is an outlier. Let's just say at 1.2 to 1.5 grams, which you're hitting on the other 2 holes, you think that's a good number? You think you're going to be able to get interest to get financed off the back of that?
Totally. If you can mine at Beatty just across the border in Nevada with a 1 to 1.5 gram material, this is totally within. We're still 4 times higher than you need to actually make this work. Look, we're in a high-level desert environment with no known environmental impediments. The tribal situation is one that we are engaging with the local tribes, and we don't see any pushback that could cause us any real harm. I think, look, it's a new world we're living in, Matt. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. There's always going to be questions around you as a miner. But look, in our defense, you have to mine somewhere in the world, and the local people will decide whether we're going to be there. But with these grades and these potential tonnages, we know it's going to attract attention, not only of financiers, but also other mid-sized mining companies.
Okay. You just want to remind people, you're part of the discovery group of companies. We speak to a few of the players in that group. I mean, the team must be delighted for you, obviously. Are they going to get involved with this fundraising component with you? Or are you kind of comfortable that you're going to be able to manage this relatively easily?
Yeah, we're all, apart from this COVID situation, we're all pretty close. We all talk to each other quite a bit. I think, John Robbins and the main characters behind the Discovery Group, Jim Paterson, who I think you spoke to recently, we'll be able to do it in pretty short order. But yeah, there is a lot of support. There was a lot of anticipation that we would have good numbers. I mean, I would have been very disappointed if we didn't. So everybody here is aware. I mean, this is like the third or so discovery. And, if you take Great Bear, then you have discovery in BC, and then you have ours in California. That's 3 discoveries in 1.5 years. So it's not a bad hitting ratio.
No, it's a good group. We do think you've got a very strong team there, and I know that you work quite closely together. So it's really to remind people that it's not just a small company. You've got the support of that team around you too. But at the end of the day, you're still $26 million. You are going to have to raise some capital. You want to see the gold, the precious metal or gold price settle a bit before you have those discussions. So between now and next year, we've got another 14 holes to come. And then what?
Yeah, well, as of next week, we're going to be submitting for the 30-site program. And then we'll be raising money to support that program in the early new year, I'd imagine. I think we're going to do a bottle roll test as well to make sure that we can get the recoveries that we want. And we'll also be doing further exploration around because, as I mentioned earlier, we did discover this area to the west of where we're drilling. And it's extremely, I would say, interesting that there's a whole bunch of old timers, and we did actually pan some gold from one of the streams up there, old creeks. So we're encouraged that there will be more.
Okay, I mean, you're sitting on quite a large land bank, and apart from this sort of epithermal gold, I mean, is there anything else interesting that's cropping up as part of your exploration program?
Yes, on the western side, I've mentioned it before. There's some interest in maybe a copper porphyry style mineralization that BHP found. Now, if this is the case, it looks like we may have a porphyry copper on its side with the epithermal at the top, which has some kaolin type affinities. We're not quite sure what that means, but at the moment we're taking it because it's high grade gold. But on the western side, if there's a porphyry copper sitting there, this is a whole district that we're talking about. It's not just an epithermal kaolin style deposit on its own. We've also got a western side, which had some base metal potential as well. I mean, the old timers in the turn of the last century, they used to mine lead, zinc, and a minor amount of copper on the western side. That was what brought people into the area. In fact, Cerro Gordo mine, which is north of us, was the largest base metal mine in the early 1900s, late 1800s. And that was actually the reason why LA became LA, was that was the port for this ore. So the district is, it's got a long history of mining. And we're just, if you like, the southern apotheosis of this whole mining district further to the north. So it's not out of the realms of our understanding that we could be sitting on something that is fairly significant in size in terms of a whole package of different mineralized rocks.
Interesting. Okay. But for now, focus on the gold, get your money in, expand your program, number of targets, and we'll see what 2021 brings you. Okay. Brilliant, Steve. Well, look, thanks very much for the update. It was good to catch up with you. And it's been 5 months or so. So things have really taken off for you. So congratulations.
No, thanks very much, Matt, and appreciate the call this morning. It's we'll have to see how we go, but I can't say I could be any happier than I am right now.